Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to episode 189 of KT Confidential, the real estate podcast. Today, we are blessed with the company of Steve Bruman on his 5th anniversary with the team, and we discuss a slew of things, but primarily the discussion revolved around a controversial tweet about the real estate investors buying up all of the real estate and raising prices and how it shouldn't happen. Or should it? That's what we discuss. Enjoy. So we're going to start the podcast off today with a celebratory drink.
Okay.
On behalf of Steve in celebration of his 5-year anniversary with us.
Wow, 5 years. Perfect. Thank you, sir. I can't believe it's 5 years already.
Yeah, so this is Steve's drink of choice, Rumchata. But you never, I've just learned, I didn't know this, you've never drank it straight.
No, I don't recall.
Okay.
I might have.
It's a good sipping liqueur.
Oh.
I assume. I've never had Rumchata. But I've had Bailey's, I've had
So it's probably the
Jamaican
same.
rum cream, among other
That's,
things.
that's the same, right?
Same thing.
So in coffee, I just go crazy.
This and Kahlua are two excellent additives for coffee. So congrats on your 5 years with us.
Thank you.
And
To at least another 5?
to at least another 5. That has a nice
Cinnamon-ish taste.
cinnamony taste. Yeah.
Actually, it's not bad on its own.
No, it's nice. So you get like
it
half,
is nice, yeah.
half a glass of that with ice, and that's a great way to end the night.
All right. So is the object of this podcast to finish this bottle?
We'll see if we can finish the bottle before the end of the podcast. Yes. Today, the only thing I want to talk about today was, we'll get to in a minute, but it revolves around a tweet that Florencia sent to me, and it just intrigued me, and it got me interested in talking about a particular topic. But before we get into it,
Sip count. I'm gonna try and beat your sip count.
well, you're going to need to top yourself up.
Record. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes. Before we get into it, 5 years. When you started with us, it was new into your. You weren't. How long were you in the industry already?
A year and a half-ish.
Okay.
A year and a bit. Yeah. Between let's say between 1 and 2.
Okay. So for the audience who may not be familiar with you, which if people just follow our podcast, they probably aren't all that familiar with you. If they follow us on social, they probably know you very well. You're a funny guy because you're camera shy, but you're everyone's favorite person on camera.
Who knew?
Who knew? So for those people who may not be familiar with you, tell us your origin story, where you started.
Where I started.
Your earliest memory
My
till how you got here today
memory.
drinking Rumchata on the KT Confidential podcast.
All right. Well, how much time do we have?
As much as you need.
Okay. So originally I'm from Montreal, La Belle Province. Born and raised off the island, and I don't know, had a family. We're a family of 4 siblings, 2 great parents. Went to school, had a great upbringing, loved hockey, played hockey my entire childhood. Played street hockey on the bikes with the friends. None of this PS5 or whatever, PlayStations.
Yeah.
I'm an old guy, so forgive me for the terminology, but I was never one of those. It wasn't a thing back then.
You got the lingo down.
I got the lingo
Yeah,
down.
you
Wow.
do.
I did a little homework.
And for the record, you're a Habs fan.
I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan. Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, what do you expect? I grew up there. I've only moved to Ontario about 8 or 9 years ago. So yeah, I bleed red, white, and blue. I'm a Habs fan, and I love them. And so I finished high school. I graduated high school. I was doing the auto mechanics courses. I thought I was going to be a mechanic. My father was in the car industry, so I was kind of following that. And friends, we were all taking mechanic courses, and I thought I was going to go that route, but I didn't. for whatever reason. I like to tinker with cars back in the day. But
How old would you have been then? Was that post-education, post-secondary? Or was that in high school? That was in high school.
So the last 2 years of high school. In Quebec, high school went up to grade 11.
Got it.
From 7 to 11 was high school. So I did, I think the last 3 years, 9, 10, and 11, I took auto mechanics and a 1 year of auto body courses. Didn't happen. I don't know. I just, I was able to get a job. My father got me a job in a warehouse through a relative. Cheers.
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 Sip count number, I don't know.
I'm 1
3?
up on you. I just worked in a warehouse and just, never knew what I really wanted to do. So I just worked. And I worked my way up from warehouse to the print shop, to the IT department and operations, and then procurement was my last gig there. I was with the company for 28 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, and you're a prime example of it in terms of what you go to school for versus where you end up.
Yep.
And, did you go to college?
Nope.
No. Okay. So, same as me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you, I didn't know that about you, that you went to, that you were into automotive.
I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you tinker? Are you mechanically inclined? Do you enjoy that stuff?
No, I don't do it as much anymore.
Okay.
Maybe about the last 10 years I kind of stopped.
Okay.
Prior to that, I would always do my own oil changes.
changes.
I would replace starters. I would do all kinds of things. Yeah, I would do it at home. It was fun. But then when I got older,
you have better things to do with your time.
And I didn't particularly like working outside in December trying to change a starter.
Right.
In 20 below, getting underneath the car. It's not good.
Yeah.
So then I just tinkered around. And I really had no inclination of going into real estate. It was just I stumbled upon it.
And then you moved here?
So
or you moved here and then you got into real estate?
Yeah, actually I moved here first. So where I was working, we were bought out by an American company. So they did a lot of restructuring, sending jobs to the States, packaging people out. So eventually my time came. So we stayed in Quebec for about a year. I was just trying to find another job. I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do anymore. Then with the whole political situation in Quebec, with the language laws and stuff like that, we decided to leave because my youngest daughter was struggling in school, in high school, with the French language and all the other subjects because of the French language.
And you spoke English at home?
We always spoke English at home. At work environment was mostly English. My friends, sphere of influence, all English. I mean, I had French friends, and I tinkered a little bit I dabbled a little bit, but not enough to make a career to get a job, right?
Yeah.
So, Barb said, let's just go. And I said, okay. So we sold the home, and now we decide where we're going to go. So we came to Ontario because we both have family here, where Barb has family across Canada with her 8 siblings. So we could have gone anywhere. Yeah. But we ended up here because I wanted to be close to my parents, right? Then just tried to find something here for the first little while. I found a part-time job, kind of like sales. Didn't work out. I didn't like it. After speaking with my sister-in-law, she used to do real estate. And she said, I think you should try it, Steve. You have the personality. People will love you. You should go out and do it.
And that they do.
And
you should read all of your 5-star reviews. Everybody loves you.
Well, I love them back, too. They're all great. They're all great people. And that's just me. I mean, I love helping people, from finding a rental property to selling their home or buying a home, whatever it is in real estate. And everything in between. I just love helping people, right?
If you don't mind me asking, how old were you when you started taking your courses?
So I moved to Ontario. I was not quite 50 yet.
Okay.
So I was probably 50 years old when I changed a whole new location, a whole new career.
Yeah. So I think that's really interesting here because I think a lot of people at that age, I think in many cases probably think, oh, I'm too old to start a new career.
Oh gosh, you're never too old. The age is just a number.
Yeah, perhaps, or most definitely. But a lot of people don't think that way. From conversations I've had anyways, I think a lot of people think, oh no, it's too late. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and be miserable.
Right.
Versus pursuing something new. Because a lot of people, I think they still have the mindset that, retire 60, 65, perhaps, maybe 70 now because it's stretching out. Cost of living's increasing. Some people will never retire, some by choice, some because they have no choice. But so that's interesting. So 50 years old, transition to a new career, and one where you're not even guaranteed an income. You have to start from zero, work your way up, and here you are 6.5 years later since being licensed. And what advice would you have for somebody of any age in terms of expectations and or inspiration for how to get started?
Don't give up. If you have a dream, go for it. Right? Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Surround yourself by people that support you.
And where did you find most of your business in the beginning?
Referrals, obviously. So when I moved here, I had no sphere of influence. I had very limited, just my sister and her family and my sister-in-law and her family. That was pretty much it. I knew nobody else here.
You had no friends, really, at the time?
No.
Not here anyways?
No.
Yeah.
I had nobody here. So it was just a lot of, started out the networking. When we first moved here, I was lucky enough, we rented a place and got to know the landlords really, really well.
Oh, I know about this.
Right?
Yeah.
So they helped me because she worked at a bank and she put me in touch with somebody at the bank. So I formed a relationship with that person.
Yeah.
And we were able to help each other. And that's how it started.
Yeah. And that's sometimes how it takes one person with a few connections and they refer you, and then it just steamrolls from there.
Yep, absolutely.
You get more referrals from each of those people.
Yep.
So on and so forth. So that's good.
Yeah, and I love what I do. It's I always tell people, for me, it's not a job.
Yeah.
A job is something that you clock in 9 to 5 type of thing, and for what we do, it's all hours, but you really have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it so much. It's the fact that I get paid for what I do at the end, but helping somebody along the way, I'm not going to say payment enough, but that's a form of payment for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and
Right?
you're very genuine with that. I think a lot of people see that, and that's why you do so well.
Yeah.
And I think you work especially well with
I work with everybody.
quite a range of people, but I've
Yeah.
seen you do, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem even more enthusiastic when you're helping first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
I think you get a lot of joy out of that.
Sometimes I get more joy than them, right?
Yeah.
I get super excited and
absolutely
overexcited. At the beginning, they're not so excited because they're nervous.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Which I understand. So it's a lot of hand holding and helping them and just saying it's okay. We're going to do this, and explain everything along. And a lot of them are friends, like today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we stay in contact, and I
good.
love it. Yeah.
And here you are.
And here I am drinking Rumchata with you.
Well, thanks again.
Cheers.
5 years.
5 years. Thank you. It doesn't seem like 5 years. On one hand, it seems like it's just yesterday.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it's like 25
Well, and the
years.
last 2 years, 2.5
Right.
years, were certainly unique circumstances with COVID, and that was a crazy time for us. It was unbelievably busy as far as business, and yet confined to homes and working virtually. It was just a lot of changes. So what I want to talk about today was this post that Flo sent me.
Right.
So I'll play that for you. I sent it to you earlier. I'll play it. And it revolves around investors buying real estate for rental purposes, residential rental units. And a good topic with you because you rent. And you're familiar with you're immersed in that, so I wouldn't mind your feedback on your thoughts of the whole economy as far as rental properties are concerned. And there are a lot of people. Grant Cardone is a big advocate of it. He doesn't believe in owning your primary residence.
Right.
There's another guy I follow on TikTok, Jim Chung, I believe his name is. And he believes owning a primary residence is a mistake. It's a waste of money. He says you're better to rent where you live and buy real estate that you rent out and you are a landlord of, because those become assets and they generate a degree of cash flow and they become tax you have incentives from a tax perspective of writing things off, et cetera, where a primary residence in many cases can be a money pit. Mm-hmm. So this post, are you able to put it up, Ian, or should I just play it on my laptop for him?
Play it on your laptop and we'll show it.
I'll show it later? Okay. So
I thought I was doing a lot. I had 60 rental properties and about $10 million in real estate owned. But wait 1 minute.
Got 242 units, $32 million in real estate.
Boom.
2,500 units, 175 million.
Boom.
220 houses, 25 million.
Boom.
About 1,500 units, 45 million.
Boom.
4,288 units, $335 million.
Boom.
boom, 4,288 units. That's crazy.
How is that possible? These must be like complexes and multi.
Multi-residential apartment buildings. That's what it is. A lot of, and in the U.S. you see a lot more, I think, of communal kind of rental communities. A lot of that sort of structure, gated communities, things like that. In many cases, in many states, the price point's much lower than what we're used to.
Big difference there.
One of those units here would be unaffordable for the average person, let alone 4,288 units. But the interesting thing with this, so these are a group of guys, I don't know how many, half a dozen guys, and they own the equivalent to about $600 million worth of real estate. And in there's just shy of, I think 8,800 units or doors, they refer to them as.
It's funny, though, because they all said units except one guy. He said houses.
Yeah, so
220 houses.
That's different. That's different.
So
yeah, I would assume. Yeah, the rest of them are probably condos or like apartment style.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but what was interesting, and I saw this video a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
And but Flo sent this to me today. It wasn't so much about the video as much as it was about the content or the comments. So this person said. He was doing a retweet, quoting this post, and he says, "So you're telling me you could free up over $600 million worth of real estate, and the only people negatively affected would be the small crowd of men at the hotel bar? Haha, that's so crazy. That's so interesting." Anyways, I don't understand what he means by free up over $600 million worth of real estate. How would you interpret that?
I have no idea, but my question would be, obviously, my first thought is they're not the sole owner of each of those units.
Unlikely.
So they have to be in some sort of partnership with corporations or multiple other people.
That's
right?
generally how it works. Like they're I mean they.
So that's kind of like almost misleading, no?
For sure it is.
Me.
Some of them may be like a very minor contributor to the pool of funds that was used to purchase those units. Some of them may, in fact, legitimately, like 60 rentals. That seems realistic for somebody that's pursuing this as a career. The other one, the bigger ones, maybe it is his percentage of ownership is much less. Mm-hmm. But the thing so a lot of people on here. Let's see some of these comments. 242 units, $32 million in real estate. Boom. This guy's just repeating. Okay.
It's funny though. They bypassed one guy.
Yeah.
Was he just like a freeloader?
I think he was maybe there to conference learning. He's like,
okay.
These are my mentors.
Yeah. Okay. He's there for the free drinks.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. People do that, right? I don't know why for some reason I can't see half the good comments I was looking at before. But I mean, there were people in here saying, they're the only people this benefits. Sell your $600 million and invest it into things that help other people. And there's another lady saying, "Oh, real estate should be free." And it caught my attention because you've got these guys investing in real estate. So first of all,
I think they are helping other people.
Yeah, well
of
to
course,
the tune of almost 9,000 apartments.
Yeah, 9,000 units, we'll call them, right?
Yeah, right, because some of them are houses.
Yeah.
And so 9,000 homes That's what they are. 9,000 homes.
Yeah.
Probably accommodating 2 to 3 times that many people.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
And there is a need for rentals. So despite what everybody's saying in the thread of comments, I think that, there's a lack of rentals. The rental market's crazy. Like even still today, it's very competitive. There was a very small blip, I think towards the beginning stages of COVID, where that changed, primarily in Toronto. A lot of people getting out of the city.
Right, yeah.
And that market took a big hit for a few months perhaps.
But that's gone back, though. It's everything.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll take long.
But that was interesting because in the beginning, as an aside, I was chatting with a realtor who owned a condo in Toronto during that time, and his tenant's lease was due, and in order to keep the tenant there, he had to take his rent from $1,800 to $1,300.
Wow.
$500 a month.
And how long did he keep it for?
I don't know.
That.
I'm not sure. I just happened to come cross paths with him in a transaction we were doing at a buyer revisit, and I happened to be there while he brought his clients, and he was telling me that. So that's how profound of an impact we saw in the rental market in Toronto. But there is, some people don't want to own homes. They don't want to own their primary residence. Some people can't afford to buy their primary residence. So rentals are needed. I was going to say a necessary evil, but they're not. They're a good thing.
I think so. Yeah.
There's people that don't want to be tied down to a particular residence for an extended period of time. They don't want the ongoing maintenance and unexpected expenses. They can rent a bigger property than they can afford to buy. And then, there's a whole slew of reasons.
I've had older clients last year, towards the end of last year, we sold their home and they're renting.
Right. So what was their motivation?
Because they were renting in a condo, so they had the mortgage was paid off and they had the condo fees, but they still had to maintain their unit.
Right.
Right. So
like replace an appliance or a toilet or
whatever's inside.
plumber.
Yeah. The flooring, drapes, whatever.
Yeah, everything has
Toilet.
a life expectancy.
Exactly, right? So they didn't want to have, and they were getting older and stuff like that, have some health issues. So they decided, we're just going to rent, sell the property, rent, move somewhere closer to where they wanted to be.
Yeah.
So they found a place where they wanted to be. They're paying rent. They're happy, very, very happy, because they walk in, they use the place, they want to go out, they close the door, lock, don't have to worry about it, right?
Yeah. Well, and I
It's
know
peace of mind for them.
Yeah, I've got people right now who, in and around the peak of this year's market, saw the shift in the market and said, okay, well, let's sell and rent because this is kind of reminiscent of 2017, where we experienced a very similar climate in the real estate market. So they saw the similarities and said, okay, well, now's probably a good time, let's sell. They sold their house. They're sitting on the cash. They're renting a house, waiting out to see what happens. So, there's another scenario where somebody needed short-term accommodations, maybe for a year, maybe for 8 months, maybe for 2 years. Who knows?
Right.
There's also a lot of people. I know people who have virtually zero savings, and their retirement plan is their house. So when it comes time to sell, they're hoping that the real estate market's in a good position. Sell their house, collect $1 million, 1.5, whatever, 2 million, and then they rent, and then that's their reserve of cash that they can now put into a safe investment and pull their income out of. So it's interesting, though. I do think that the government should play a more active role in producing more rental units. In fact, we're starting to see some already. I don't know if you're familiar with them. I helped somebody recently. I mentioned to the team there's they're referred to as luxury rentals at Bronte and Lakeshore in Oakville, and it's two buildings right at the corner where the old firehouse used to be.
Right.
And it's 100% rentals, so tons of rentals. Brand new building went up. My clients who rented were the third occupants in the building.
Nice.
Yeah,
And these are. It's just like an apartment style. It's just rental. It's owned
Purpose
by a corporation.
built.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
they have one here in Milton as well on Costigan.
Yeah.
Right by the.
I think you were the one that mentioned that to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, brand new, about a year old or something.
Do you know what the rents are?
I'm gonna say anywhere from $2,000 to $2,500.
Okay. Yeah.
Ish.
So Oakville, it depended on the
size.
It varied by
Yeah.
size,
Yeah.
but generally, one bedrooms were like 2,300, two bedrooms were 2,600, and then it varied by size and level.
Yep.
And then parking was additional.
Yeah.
So
yeah. There
rent's,
too.
rent's not cheap.
No, it's not. But if you factor in owning your own home and then your yearly taxes, plus all
Yeah.
your maintenance that you need to do over the year, because
Yeah.
your roof's not going to last forever, your HVAC won't last forever,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I'm at that stage now. My house is just over a decade old. So, I have builder grade shingles. They're not expected to last a whole lot longer.
No.
My appliances.
Yep. You're going to want to upgrade. Well, maybe not you.
I'm kind of frugal.
You're frugal.
You're talking
Yeah.
to the wrong guy.
Sorry.
I'm kind of frugal. My neighbor will.
Your neighbor
My
definitely
neighbor.
will. And there's nothing wrong with
No.
that, right?
No, not at all.
Your neighbor works hard for it, and he deserves
Yeah.
it, and he wants it. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I agree.
Right.
But so, when I say rent is high, there's no question it's a lot of money. But at the same time, and to the point of these people, so everybody's
Yeah.
giving them a hard time. Most investors, certainly ones I've been working with, where they're buying, one or two condos or houses to rent out, and that's in many cases their retirement plan. They're short money every month, so they're putting out $300, $400, $500, $800, $1,000 a month in additional carrying costs because the rent doesn't cover everything, and in many cases that doesn't cover vacancies and unexpected repairs. That's just basic monthly carrying costs. So mortgage, principal and interest, property taxes.
That's just
Whatever.
part of the gambling effect, I guess, or it's like you're taking a chance, like the stock market, right?
Yeah.
You're up or down. So, but I think in the long term, they're definitely going to benefit, right? Because
Yeah.
when they eventually sell,
Well, you would think, but if you look, so I have a buddy out in Edmonton. He bought his house, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago, for I think just shy of around 600,000. Nice house, nice neighborhood. It was a large bungalow. It was big enough that it needed 2 furnaces. Like, it was a good
Wow.
sized bungalow in a really nice neighborhood. Bought it for about $600,000. 8 years later, or six. What did I say? 6 years? 6 or 8 years
Six.
later, sold it for I think $680. So, we are in like our own little mini.
different.
I was going to say eco-climate or eco. What's the word I'm looking for? Microclimate of real estate, kind of, where the GTA is just it's on its own compared to a lot of the places.
Right.
BC, similar, I think.
Yeah.
But anywhere in between, and a lot of out east, maybe up until recent years, we never saw that type of growth there.
Right.
So-
And is that because people can afford like Vancouver and the GTA, and they're going out that way
Yeah.
because it's cheaper? And then
Well, we're seeing a lot more of that over the last couple of years. People
Absolutely.
leaving Ontario over the course of COVID because of a lot of the restrictions and mandates, and a lot of people weren't fond of that, or they just realized that they could work remotely and
Yep.
they didn't need to hold this $2 million house when they could buy the same thing in Halifax for $1 million
Yeah.
and have a better quality life. So, yeah, a lot of that has happened in the last couple of years.
And I've had clients do that actually a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the one thing I do agree with some of these comments is that most definitely investors do contribute to escalating prices from the perspective of adding competition. So there are people, actually, here's another one she sent me. So this one, Nicole Funk, or Funk, or Funke, I don't know.
Related to Ian?
Maybe maybe somehow. We'll have to
investigate.
Yes.
Get HR on it.
All right. She writes, we literally just bought our house, and this is the shit we deal with all the time now. So she's got a text message here from somebody saying, I'm planning to buy 3 to 4 properties in Portland. Saw the property from outside at blank street. Have you decided to sell this for cash? Jay Williams. And her response is, it's not a property, it's our home. After putting in countless offers on other houses, only to be beat out by people like you looking for investment properties. We finally got this home to start a family. So the short answer is go fuck yourself.
Nice.
Yeah.
Short and sweet.
So there's no question. From the research I've done, about 1 in 5 properties are purchased by investors. That's a substantial amount, 20%. That's a big number. To her comment, there's no way she knows how many people she's been competing against for home, buying for investment purposes or as primary residence. But
she may know how many people she's competing against, but she probably doesn't know who she's competing against. That's what you meant. Okay.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, sorry.
She'll know how many she's against, but she doesn't know, because she said we're competing against, what was the term she said? People like you.
She's speculating, right?
Yeah,
people have their
she's
opinions, and they're allowed.
They are.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there's no question that contributes to the competition in a market where there is competition. Right now, you're not seeing it.
No. Gosh.
Right now, what I'm experiencing is buyers sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Just watching.
I have buyers not watching, waiting for the right property to come up, being selective.
Okay. What type of buyers are those?
Right.
What are they buying for?
Their own personal residence, right? Downsizing, whatever.
Okay. So
not investment.
Right. Okay. So that makes sense. So, I don't think it's a bad time to buy. I think it's maybe a bad time for an investor to buy. I think it's worth waiting. If I was an investor, I would wait a little bit.
Why? The prices are coming down.
Prices are coming down, and they're going to continue to go down, I believe.
For how long do you think? Like, where do you see them start to level off?
We've seen 2.5% increases in the Bank of Canada rate.
And more to come, right, this year?
More to come. So the U.S. Rate just went up 0.75 yesterday.
Wow.
And everyone is speculating we're going to follow suit with the same in July. And probably for the next, most people are saying we'll see a 0.75% increase for the next 2 increases.
Okay.
That's a big change. And there's studies that have been done recently by like CBC and companies like that, where they're speculating, or they're surveying people saying 1 in 4 people won't be able to afford their home if the rates go up. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. If they're on fixed rates, they're maybe good for another 2, 3, 4 years.
Except for the terms that are coming up due now or
Correct.
soon.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of people that, and then some people will allude to the stress test and say, oh, they're okay because 3 years ago when they got approved, or 4 years ago when they got approved, or 5 years, whatever, they were approved at a higher rate due to the stress test. But things that weren't taken into consideration then were the unbelievable increase in cost of living.
It's crazy now. Eh?
Food, gas, everything, right? Like that's taken a huge chunk out of people's extra spending or available spending.
Yeah.
So you now take that and then add $1,000 to the mortgage. Most people don't have that $1,000 available.
Right. Yeah.
So, I can see more inventory coming now. If people are speculating the rate will continue to go, I think maybe we'll see more inventory come to the market, because if they're predicting the rate or the values to go down further, maybe they want to cash out early. We had this discussion just before starting.
Yeah.
You had somebody call you.
Yeah, I had somebody call me last night actually to bring up that exact topic.
Yeah.
So that's their frame of mind now, is to cash out now and just wait to see how the market goes.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 months to a year, buy something again and see how it goes.
Yeah. So in my time in the industry,
Right.
which is about a decade, we've only seen one other time like this, which I mentioned in 2017. I had one client do that. They cashed out and they went to rent, but they've been renting ever since. Their intention was to get back in.
So is that by choice? They're still renting, or by circumstance?
Well, when they made the decision to sell, it was with the sole purpose of recognizing they felt like they were at a peak in terms of market value.
Right.
And they wanted to buy back in when it came back down.
Right.
But they missed, I don't know if their plans changed or they missed that opportunity. Or maybe they said, well, we've got, this money in the bank, let's invest into something else. So they found another investment, because real estate is just a form of aside from being a home, where you live, it's a market, it's a form of investment. I know a lot of people that would rather put their money into other things. I don't understand the stock market and ETFs as well as other people do, but I know people that have made the same or more
Right.
in those markets as I've done in real estate. So I guess it depends on where you want your money.
Absolutely. I guess time will tell and see where the market goes in the next little while, eh?
What's your prediction?
What's my prediction? At least 6 months, 8 months, it's still going to continue to drop, I believe.
Yeah.
And having that conversation with my client yesterday, I believe we're going to see more people do that. So you're going to have, it's be like a ripple effect, right? More houses on the market,
Yeah.
more competition.
Yeah.
So the prices will continue to drop.
Yeah.
It's a catch-22.
Yeah. Well,
That's what I think.
We see the stats every day. You know,
Right, yep.
the general public will hear about this in a month.
Yeah.
But every day we go in, there's certain types of homes I'm keeping an eye on. Every day I go in and do a search for that specific type of home in a specific region, and the number of listings is higher.
Right.
So I see the inventory increasing, not dramatically,
But it's still increasing.
It's still increasing. There was a period we've already passed where it was a substantial increase, and there was a substantial reduction in price, and now it seems to be more of a steady change, but in the same direction.
Right.
So it's a bit more predictable, which is nice. So if people want to move, like you want a bigger house and you're concerned about the market, I don't think you should be concerned about the market. I think you should sell first and then go buy. With, there's always unique circumstances depending on what you're buying and what you're selling. But, as long as you're buying and selling in the same time frame, it's fine. In fact, sometimes now upsizing, you're coming out ahead. Because as a percentage, some of those bigger homes have reduced more than the smaller homes. So we got lots of that going on.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. That's for sure.
Yeah,
it'll be I'm not going to say a fun change, but it's a nice change, I think, in a way, because with the buyers in the last several months, up to a couple of years, I felt really bad for them. Right? It's very competitive. They're heartbroken. Oh, Christ, we lost another bid. Oh, we got outbid again. 20 offers, 30 offers. I can't compete.
Yeah.
At least now they have choice and opportunity, right?
Yeah.
But on the flip side, it's the sellers that need to sell, and they're losing.
Well, there's still some of those in the market that either bought pre-construction a year or two ago, and now they're closing. I mean, they're still ahead of where they were back then.
Definitely, yeah.
But not what they had hoped for in the spring. Or still spring, I suppose.
Or hoped and / maybe banked on.
Yeah, maybe they went and bought a car and said, geez, we've got way more than we expected. Let's go buy that new car we expected. And that's where people get screwed.
Yeah.
Right? They're now overspending because they had bad expectations. I talked a bit in the last podcast. I had a client. They bought a house that we had listed a number of years ago. Not through us. We had it listed. They were represented by somebody else. They called me a couple months back and said, hey, we bought a house that you had listed. We met you at the open house. We really like you. We've just gone and bought a house and we'd like you to sell ours.
Right. Nice.
But they, nice, yeah, flattering. But they hadn't engaged with us prior to buying. So they bought without really knowing what was happening. So they bought and they ended up selling for more than $100,000 less than they expected to.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that must have hurt them.
Oh, they were distraught.
It was devastating.
It was devastating. So fortunately for them, they could still afford it. They just had to put less money down on the new house. They're carrying a bigger mortgage than they'd hoped for, and I think they maybe stretched it out over a longer term to offset the carrying costs a bit. But other people are not so lucky. Many people are just not able to close. Or they're now taking private loans to cover the difference.
That'll hurt.
Yeah. But at some point, that group of people will be out of the market and it will become more balanced. But a lot of those people are the ones that are holding on with higher prices in hopes of selling. And then at some point, they're just going to say, well, we just have to sell now for whatever we can sell for. And they'll do it. And then once a lot of those listings are gone, it'll stabilize a bit.
Yeah, I was looking for some places for a client, and that's exactly what happened. One particular unit, he didn't want to sell it below a certain value.
Yeah.
And the house, it's still sitting, right? He's just going to wait and wait and wait, and it's not
So
worth.
He probably doesn't have to sell.
Probably not.
Right.
He just wants to wait for that magic number.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he could have sold it weeks ago, right? But
yeah. Well,
everybody's motivation, like you said, is different. So
the more the media is
Yeah.
talking about it, the more people will realize what's happening.
yeah, absolutely. That's very interesting, though.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, and
Yeah.
thanks for the Rumchata. It's
Happy anniversary.
well, happy anniversary to you too.
Yeah.
I guess.
You can enjoy
Right?
the rest of the bottle as you maybe sunbathe outside in this sweltering heat.
No, I don't sunbathe.
Well, enjoy it
I'm
with
too
your
old.
coffee.
I will definitely have coffee with that. Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like royalty. I get to sit in Ariel's seat.
Yeah, don't tell him.
Don't tell him. I think somebody will tell him.
He'll probably
He'll
see
find
it.
out.
He'll find it somewhere.
Ariel, you'll have to raise the seat a little.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
All right, there you got it. Thank you for watching episode 189 of KT Confidential, the real estate podcast. If you have any questions for us, we'd love to get your feedback. Comment below. Let us know what your thoughts are about what's going on in the real estate market or anything real estate related, and we will include it in an upcoming episode. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode every Monday morning at 6 a.m.